Welcome, everybody. We had a cool CPI. Market goes up, market goes down. What stays the same is I'm here with these wonderful men to discuss what is going on with this market. Unfortunately, Sami Abusaad turned his back on me and canceled on me today, allegedly because of his computer. But Sami, you are under investigation. I will not put up with this disrespect. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Let's be more positive. Okay, so we were having a fun little conversation off air. Derrick, you were talking about how you're having a good day, but it's not an easy day. What does that mean?
Did you see how many long positions I had in that disclosure you just posted?
Let's pop it again. Compliance loves when we disclose stuff. So
that's why it's a good day, but not an easy day. I mean, trying to get a bounce from this market is like, oh man, give you heart palpitations. It has not been easy to try to get a bounce from this market. This is like, in some ways, become like the worst market I've almost ever seen. And I don't mean worse in terms of like it's a bad trading environment. Quite the opposite, actually. It's been a really good trading market. I just mean from the perspective of how heavy this market is, how difficult it's been for us to be able to get a bounce. We have been sitting at these really massively downside extended levels on the indexes for several trading sessions in a row. Like, at least with the way that I measure extension, this rivals anything that we've seen in the entirety of the 2022 bear market. Yet every time we got to those levels of extension in the 2022 bear market, we were typically met with like a face-ripping rally snapback trade. And here it's like every day we're making new lows, every day we can't continue. And then I really thought coming into CPI that the risk was going to be to the upside for the market, and we got like a decent number on it. And I guess that there's a few things underneath the surface that maybe aren't as great, but the headline core month over month came in light compared to expectations. We initially ripped higher on it, and I was like, all right, this I think really could be the catalyst that leads to a feedback cycle of buying, at least in the short run, to be able to give us a more legitimate snapback. I mean, I'm looking for a move to like SPY 570, maybe even as high as SPY 575 on just a snapback. And I think that it could come fast and furious. Yet, so, today I had a lot of long exposure coming into today. And I was telling the team, like, look, at this point, we got a pretty big gap up. Let's kind of sit on our hands a little bit the first 30 minutes or so and see if we can actually get a signal to be able to go long. It looked like maybe that signal was actually coming in right around 10 o'clock. But then once the 10 a.m. lows broke, it was like, all right, this thing is toast and we need to just like sit back and chill for a little bit. And then we basically fully fill the gap in the Qs, go negative in the SPYs, V bottom at 11 o'clock today. And now we're working our way back up. I'm really watching this QQQ 480 to see if we can get above it, because then I do think that could trigger and spur some additional buying. So I'm very long. I changed my name today to Derrick Oldensmith. I'm very long. I'm trying to get this bounce back. I'm having a good day, but oh man, it is not easy to get follow through on this market right now. It's actually incredible how hard it is at these levels of extension to get even the slightest bounce that gives follow through.
Okay, JR, what do you think the CPI today even really, in terms of the grand scheme of things, do you think the CPI number even really mattered?
It did for about 45 seconds. Like the CPI without a PPI print tomorrow is a bologna sandwich without any meat in it, as far as what the market's going to be able to take away in terms of a forward read. In my opinion, I'm no economist. I only play one on television. That being said, I completely agree with Derrick in the sense that this market is certainly acting differently. It's been cold, and it's been orderly and incredibly systematic in the selling. And it's only been, I've seen peaks of sort of irascible emotion on tape dumps whenever Donald Trump says something crazy, or Canada promises to cut off our maple syrup supply or whatever it is, this crazy nonsense. But it's been very systematic, and it's definitely we haven't seen those bounces that I've been doing this for so long, right? That on a certain market close, I've had to like fight the impulse to buy the market so many times. Where I tell my traders at the end of the day, like, if this was a normal market, okay, you would be hearing beep, 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 and that would be me backing up the truck, just buying this market like crazy. And the problem is that the bounces are getting faded ferociously, and it's very, very difficult to buy a market of this kind of personality. And I haven't seen this in a very, very long time, so that's been really difficult. And I find myself really, forced into a second career, Michael. I'm also a motivational speaker, which is great. I find myself quoting Tolstoy and Buddha and the Dhammapada, just trying to talk some patience into my traders. I've been realigning my chakras on the daily, doing a lot of downward dog between scalps, just trying to get people to calm down, because this market really requires a tremendous, granola eating amount of patience. You got to really, reach deep down inside and find your inner purple-haired granola eater hippie, and just really, really be patient, calm down, and find your levels. You have to be very exacting and precise. You got to get your cookie and get out, because rips are being faded, and dips are being bought like kind of awkwardly, right? But if you understand your levels and you're a good tape reader in this market, and by tape reader, I don't mean just sitting there watching time and sales. Okay, that's very 1998. I mean really understanding the order flow in the market. You can make money in this market, right? Like today we called on the NASDAQ on the E-mini futures, the break of 569. 19,569. I said, you're going to trigger stops there. You're going to see some panic selling, and you're going to, we call basically an ABCD in the S&P futures also, if it broke 5,600, and you get some glorious moves, but you have to be really patient. You have to be very, very patient, and breakouts are failing. A lot of breakdowns are failing, and makes for a very, very difficult and challenging environment.
Okay, so we should be going into the forest to find some of those interesting looking mushrooms to mellow us out a little bit.
You didn't get the memo about the drum circle? Derrick and I are starting one every Tuesday.
Oh, you got to come to Idaho for it, though.
Exactly.
I'm like Cartman. I hate hippies. I'm gonna come down and bust up that hippie drum circle. Any South Park fans out there? Okay, so random. No, so Derrick, yeah, somebody pointed out you're wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. What's your favorite Led Zeppelin song, Derrick?
Achilles' Last Stand.
Oh, that's a good one. Derrick gets a lot of credit for that. How about you, JR? You like Led Zeppelin?
I love Led Zeppelin. I gotta say Moby Dick. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Okay.
Very fitting to this market. Feeling like Ahab.
I'm gonna go with 10 Years Gone right now with the way things are going. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Trump trade, because Tesla's, it's gone on its little adventure. Morgan Stanley still said their bull case is $800. I don't know how realistic there is, but I just looked. So the spies have given up the entire post-election. Tesla did. Bitcoin is right on the verge. So I don't even know what to ask. Is it over? Is the party over?
No, man, it's great. You wait for Orange Man to open his mouth, you short 50 S&P contracts, and you take a 20-minute nap. It's great. What are you talking about? I love the Trump trade. That's the one that seems to be working.
We just had a real quick.
But I mean, I do think it is time for that discussion. Is the bull market done? We have 2 huge up years in the market. You know, we have this crazy post-election rally and everybody's feeling good. Like, is a bear market on the horizon? Judy in the comments is saying no. But we need to be adults. We need to talk about these things. JR, is a bear market a possibility?
Look, the long-term secular bull market, bring up a monthly chart of the S&P 500, clearly untouched and still in a bull trend. If you're talking about the cyclical bull market, you know, it depends. Like, where people really rely on technical analysis right now, and it's not about the chart. And you know, when a technical trader tells you it's not about the chart, it's really not about the chart. Okay, are we experiencing the end of the post-World War II Bretton Woods order, or are we just you know, in the throes of the greatest, loudest, scariest bluff of all time? I don't know. I don't think Donald Trump knows. I don't think anybody knows. And so it makes for a very, very uncomfortable ride, brought to you by Mylanta. You know what I mean? Like, this is a really, really tough environment due to that uncertainty.
Okay. I mean, Derrick, I'll ask you the same thing in sort of a different way. Like, how much visibility do we have? How far are you looking out? Are you just taking things day by day now?
I am looking out pretty far, actually, but at the same time, I take it day by day, and I adjust the thought process and the thesis kind of day by day. So if you're asking if the Trump trade is gone, I'm going to say no, it's not gone. I'm going to say it changed. And or maybe it didn't even change. Maybe this was always what the Trump trade was. It's just everybody was wrong when he first got elected on what it was. When he first got elected, the Trump trade was Bitcoin through the roof, Tesla through the roof. We're going to deregulate. We're going to get rid of taxes, and the stock market is going to go up 10 million%. And what the trade has shown to be is something very different. And you can take it even from Trump's mouth directly, or from Scott Bessent's mouth directly. Trump keeps talking. When he's asked about the stock market, he says, I don't care about the stock market. I don't even look at the stock market. If he asks if there's going to be a recession or something, he says, be prepared to endure some pain, is basically the words that are almost directly coming out of his mouth. So what the hell is going on? Because sometimes it literally looks to me, I mean, JR said it, every time he opens his mouth, the market starts down ticking. And he's not, one thing that Donald Trump is not, in my opinion, is a dummy. He knows very well what he's doing, and that what he says has consequences on the market. I think it's all part of the plan. I think that part of the plan is it's this austerity where he wants to just change the way our economy works. Our economy has become very heavily reliant on government spending, on deficit spending, and he wants to be able to create a economic transfer in how our economy works from being heavily reliant on the government to being more reliant on the private sector. And his thought process on how to do that, in my opinion, is basically to create a recession. And that's what everything I look to when I'm scratching my head on why the hell would he say what he just said. It's because he wants to create a recession so that in the long term, he can kind of rebuild the economy in the way that he imagines it, which is different than the way that it's been run, which has been so heavily based on government spending. So if you can create all this short-term chaos, eventually what that's going to happen is you're going to be able to lower interest rates. You're going to be able to weaken the dollar. You're going to be able to use these trillions of dollars that Doge is supposedly saving to cut corporate income taxes. And then you're going to then be able to go to stage 2, which is the real pump stage. But it's just not in the way that we kind of first imagined it. Then it's going to be about deregulation. Then it's going to be about corporate income taxes. And then it's going to be about, every time he speaks, the market downticks. Eventually, once we get through this phase, I bet we'll hit a point where every time he speaks, the market upticks, because he's speaking about how he's going to lower corporate income taxes to 5% or something crazy like that. So I really think it's all just part of the process, and it's kind of what he imagined to begin with, and that's what all the evidence seems to point to. And from a trading perspective, what that means is we get a market correction. We're basically already in it. Will that market correction actually turn into a bear market? We'll see. How bad will things get? And then we'll see if this experiment actually works in the long run and we get a big turnaround on things eventually. So that's kind of what I think is going on. I think the Trump trade is there, but I don't think it's in Tesla, and I don't think it's in Bitcoin. I think it's bigger picture than that. There's nothing you can do with the fact that Tesla is literally a business that's absolutely imploding. You could lower Tesla's corporate taxes to zero, but it's not all of a sudden going to make people go buy their piece of crap cars.
Shots fired. Damn, son.
Derrick, the unbiased Tesla analyst. So, Derrick, you do not agree with Morgan Stanley saying Tesla can hit $800 within 12 months. Okay.
I think that the sell side analysts want to get a piece of that SpaceX IPO, and that they're going to do what they're got to do to stay on his good side to try to get it.
Okay. All right. JR, do you think we would even be, hypothetically, let's just say the SPYs were still around the all-time highs, around 612, 614, whatever it was. Do you think we'd even be having this conversation about the economy?
I think I'm going to play Derrick's last rant in a loop every time I go to bed at night and just tell myself there's a plan. It's going to be okay. There's a plan. I think that's great that somebody thinks there's a plan. I'm very concerned. I think we're flirting with disaster, and yes, you say lower dollar. Who's going to buy our treasuries? Is my worry, and so that's just my concern. Call me crazy. Sorry, what was the other question?
I don't even remember. No, would we really be? Because I do think traders and people very involved in the stock market,
yeah,
they see stock prices coming down, and they're like, oh my God, the world is ending. Do you think that's what's happening now? Because it seems like all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks, the concerns about the economy, because I think when stock prices were higher,
are down like 8 percentage points. Like everybody's just has to relax. You know what I mean?
I would argue
it's gonna be okay.
I think the average person is down a lot more than that, because if there's still a million stocks down 50, 60, 70% from the highs. So, JR, we can't have you sitting around telling people their fears are unfounded.
I'm not going to go full like Uncle Warren Buffett, okay? But, it's hard to beat the S&P 500 long term, okay? Like in your long term portfolio, you gotta be smart. That's all I'm going to say before I start a flame war.
That's a good politician statement.
Yeah.
But I'm going to defend this country. JR and Derrick, very, very anti-American today. No faith. The orange man is playing 4D chess, and he's going to figure this all out. You guys
but that's exactly what I said. I said he's playing 4D chess by creating a recession to then create the most glorious economy ever created. Well, we'll see if it plays out. I think it's a very, very risky thing that he's attempting to do. I think there's a good chance that it fails, but if this works, it could work really well. So I'm trying to be open-minded about what the end results will be. And, I think the tariffs are a nightmare, but, if it's all a negotiating tactic, which is what everybody's thought from the beginning, and a year from now, maybe we even ended up with lower tariffs than we originally had, then, I would chalk it up as a win to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the general idea is that he'd make a big racket, get some very mild concessions, and then declare victory, and we'd move on.
I hope it's more than that. I hope we're doing this for more than just mild concessions and move on. I hope that this turns into like any of the pre-existing tariffs that we even had before he became elected end up being gone on both sides of every border, and then that'll just be great for everyone's economies, great for the global economy.
Look,
yeah, I do wonder.
Sorry,
go on, JR.
No, I was gonna say like tariffs as a negotiating gambit. I think are brilliant. Okay, if we're really going to tariff the world so we can make glow in the dark ninja suits the Tuesday sale item at Walmart, okay, that's freaking terrible. Okay, there's a reason we have free trade. There are things we don't want to manufacture in the United States for good reason, right? So we have to wait and see. I'm really bullish on the market. Like I said, the secular market is still in a bull trend, but this could really shake things up and put us into a tailspin for a year or two, and really rile up the markets. So we have to wait and see. There's no chart reading that's going to give you an out here. There's no tea leaves you can read just being a market technician. You have to wait and see how this mess works out. Okay, the chart's just going to confuse and frustrate you. If you're a day trader in this market, the key to understanding how to make money in this market is understanding the personality of the market, where the inefficiencies and momentum are, and exploiting those and being hyper focused on those. If you're trading this market like you were trading, fall of 2020 or spring of 2021, you're doing it backwards. This is a completely different market.
Yeah. One thing I think I'm curious to see is if Doge, if they fire all the people at the BLS and these other places that accumulate statistics, or if those are cheap, because a good way to avoid recession is not reporting it or changing the because the government likes to change how they do the calculations every so often to make things look better. I would not count that out of the orange man's plan. Okay. All right. Now's the time. I have about, let me check my account. Hold on. Let me check my balance. I got about $40 million to put to work in the next hour, and I need to know what to do with it. So, Derrick, we should start with you because you came in long and strong.
I think. Go
do
ahead.
you like anything here?
Yeah, so I think that your listeners got way too used to me being bearish all the time, and I'm really not bearish all the time. Most of the time, I'm an optimistic bull, actually, except for when the market's about to break down and go into a correction and extremely quickly, like it just did. So that worked out pretty well. But look, we're oversold. Can I do a screen share here? How do I get the screen share?
Of course, just hit present, then share screen.
All right, cool. So here's your SPY chart. I mean, look, this move, I saw some statistic this morning. I wish I remembered it. It's like one of the top 5 fastest corrections going back since 1950 or something like that. Don't quote me exactly on that, but there's some wild statistic on the speed of this correction. I don't know if we technically closed in correction territory, which is 10% in the SPYs yesterday. I know we at least traded through it at a certain point, and the Qs are in corrective territory. This move has been so fast and so hard. Markets work in periods of expansion and consolidation over time. This market is due for some sort of corrective action. I am looking for that to be a bounce back. It could be sideways action, which would be potentially not so great. But I'm looking for a strong bounce back in this market. We're trading at 560 right now. We're well off the intraday low, but I'm looking for a move up to at least 570 to 575 in the SPYs. If we get there, when we get there, then I will reassess. I will be continuously piecing out of my longs on the way up. I've already been doing that because we are a decent bit off yesterday's low, but I've got a lot of firepower left for this bigger move that I'm still looking for. When we get into that area, then I'm going to be reassessing on whether or not that retracement could become a reversal or if I should be building into shorts. There's a good chance that I'll probably do a bit of both, where I'll be piecing out of my longs on the way up at a certain point, maybe putting on some index shorts for a potential pullback, and we'll take it from there. It's one step at a time, though. This sell-off happened so fast that in the short run, I think we've washed out a lot of the market positioning. I was saying to everyone back at all-time highs on February 19th that there's a very high probability of a false breakout because everyone's in the pool. Long short funds were long at their 94th percentile on a look back. CTAs were all in the pool. Vol control had a ton of buying. So all the systematics were in there. Retail in this period of time, in like the second half of January, first half of February, had like 5 of their biggest buy days ever. The problem with this technical breakout that became a breakout failure was as we broke out, there was no one left to buy and everyone was there to sell right as seasonality turns bearish, right as OPEX occurred. Now that we're down here, historically, inflows begin to come back into the market on March 14th, but everyone that was in the pool, for the most part, has gotten out of the pool. The CTA systematic funds have actually flipped short now as of this week. They still have a little bit more selling that they could do. They could get a little bit more short this week. But once you get into next week, they have no firepower left to short. And if the market retraces higher, it's going to feed on itself, and they're going to start to buy back to the market again. It's the same thing with the vol control systematics and the long short funds and long only funds. Their exposure to the market has, I wouldn't say it's gone negative or gone bearish, but it's gone back to neutral. Yet we're still in a negative gamma environment. There is a potential that we could get a face-ripping rally here as this week moves on and into early next week, provided that there's no new crazy catalyst that comes out from the administration, which, I mean, was it JOLTS yesterday that came out? Looked like the JOLTS number was decent. And then literally within 30 seconds, Trump came out and said, we're going to tariff Canada by 50%. And it just put a complete squash on any up move that was potentially going to come from JOLTS. So, he could always come out and say something crazy that could bring us lower. But I really think that we're at the point where we can be long. When the market's moving the way that it is, I always start with the market first, because when the market's moving like this, correlations really increase. If I'm not studying the market and thinking that the market can bounce, I've got no business trying to be long anything else, no business trying to be long Amazon or Google or whatever. But my favorite things on the long side for the snapback are broadly Mag 7, but probably not Apple, and these growth names that have gotten very, very beat up. Some of them are down like 70% in a month. I'm not calling for absolute bottoms here. I'm calling for snapbacks on stocks that are smoked. Like, I don't know, an OKLO, I don't have a position in this one, or I've gotten involved in like the TTD. I mean, this move in TTD is insane for a snapback. I'm in this NBIS, which is another growthy stock, to see if this thing can snap back higher and work its way up a little bit. I've got names like Path on and S on, but they both have earnings after the close, so be a little bit careful with that. Unity had this good earnings report that brought it up to $31. Now it's trying to bounce off 21. That's another position that I'm in. I've got a position in Google where I'm looking for a snapback to the low 170s. I've got a position in Amazon right now. I am long this SOXL for a trade. I was long NVIDIA earlier today. I got out of it. VKTS is still my biggest position. I mentioned this one last week. It actually had news yesterday that the market interpreted negatively. It traded down. I think it shook a lot of people out, and now it's retesting the 30 level that I was talking about last week. I still think that this thing looks great. If this thing can clear through 30, I think you could very easily see this thing back in the low 40s. That's what I'm looking for on a target on that. So bottom line, PayPal, it's another one that I've got a decent position on right now. Company's got a nice buyback. They got hit down on earnings a little bit, but look at just the move since the earnings report. 82.40 down to 68. So starting with the market, the big picture, working my way to the small picture, I'm looking for SPYs to bounce back to 570 to 575. I'm looking for the Qs to bounce back to somewhere between, let's call it 488 to 495. And then all of these stocks, what am I in? 27 long positions right now. All 27 positions that I'm in are going to be moving higher with the market, take advantage of that price correction, and then I'll be piecing out on the way up and reassess. So I am coming in at least as a short-term bull right now with this environment, and then I'll reassess when I get the move I'm looking for.
Awesome. Remember, his name today is Derrick Oldensmith. Though our friend Sami saying Tesla short call from Derrick 2 weeks ago is one for the ages. Also, Derrick called Palantir short. Amazing. Okay, JR, don't think you're going to get away from me.
Yes, Captain.
Okay, so JR, I'd love to hear if there's anything you still like in this market. Starting with, so last week you said you still like Nvidia. It's about flat from last week. So if you could start with Nvidia and then give us any additional wisdom, I would be a grateful man.
I mean, Nvidia is in a very broad channel.
Do you want to pull up your charts or?
Oh yeah, we can. Hold on.
It's going to be beautiful. JR's going to show us his charts. I have the best charts, the most amazing charts. Nobody's ever seen charts like I have.
It's gonna be huge. All right. Okay, so this is Nvidia. It's in a very broad channel. It's bouncing off the bottom of the channel. Your most traded volume is 120.5, and you're nowhere near it. I'm disenchanted, obviously, with Nvidia's performance. It was supposed to hold. For me to be really excited about Nvidia, it needed to hold 120.5. It didn't. Now you're dealing with a very dangerous situation. Your gamma exposure level is 110, 100, sorry, to the downside, and 150 to the upside, with a point of control on this entire move around 120. So it's overhead supply galore, and I expect the selling to continue. I think we're going to see $89 in this one, so I'm not super excited about it. Tesla, I'm just using an hourly chart here. So Tesla, we called so this is your most traded volume in this, earlier July to August, or July to October, the reaccumulative structure. And we were very bullish. Tesla, yesterday we bought the open on Tesla and rode it all the way to the day highs, excuse me. And now you have a higher pivot low on the hourly. Okay, so I expect Tesla to go to 270 in the next couple of days. It's okay. It's all right, I guess. On Tesla, yeah, so your upside gamma level is 270. It'll probably go there. The problem with this market is, if you're a skilled day trader, you can make a lot of money. If you're holding positions overnight, I feel like those car dealership sock puppets, the wind puppets, they like flop around. You guys would know what I'm talking about? I think. Okay, so I just feel like a sock puppet with a lot of overnight positions, because you're at the mercy of some European prime minister or central banker or Trump's cousins, nephews, brothers, sisters, someone just making some comment and riling the market up. You're really at the mercy of geopolitical and macroeconomic winds like I've never seen before, or I haven't seen in a long time, and it makes me uncomfortable. I mean, the opportunities are everywhere. AVGL, Qualcomm, Carvana. We called all these this morning. Doximity was a mover for a while, and then I love the quantum names, right? IonQ on the hourly is making statements. Okay, it's kicking ass and taking names. You're snapping back off the bottom of a channel with igniting volume here. I mean, do I think these names merit any serious attention as an investor? No, it's all garbage. RGTI snapping back. I'm looking for a move back, 20-30% move in a lot of these names. QUBT, and again, it's more garbage, but it's gonna give you a nice short covering pop here. Qualcomm was beautiful this morning. We're all about the Qualcomm. Robinhood, potentially you can see a move back to $46-47, but several things need to happen. The triple Qs, they really need to take out 483 $50, $40, $4. And then, you've got a little spaghetti on my charts. I'll miss. I need to clean this up. But yeah, you could see rooms back to 500 potentially. Spiders, I'm less excited about the S&P 500. This pivot low, higher pivot low wasn't exactly much to write home about. So we need a higher pivot low on a pullback. We need to hold 565 and then, fill this gap here. So do we have room to 575, 577.50? Absolutely. But my money would be on the NASDAQ. So yeah, my strategy in this market is to day trade. I start the mornings real light, just to get a good feel for what the market wants to do. And then, we go full Sonny Liston, just go heavy, go hard, and get paid while you can before somebody says something on Twitter that's going to turn the market around. So it's a real scalpers market. We're doing 30-minute scalps. That's it. Like the tape bombs are incessant. It's really hard to make money in a market like this if you're holding positions out there. I think Derrick may be right that this may be an interim low, but I'm concerned about a 50% retracement of this move and then a major ABCD type of move. Just for our newer viewers, something like this, where you go into the 500, 503 level, and then just make a D leg lower that takes out these lows. So that's highly likely, in my opinion.
Hopefully it's not Sonny Liston versus Cassius Clay on their second fight.
That was fixed. Come on, everybody knows that.
Okay, folks. I think everybody should take JR's advice. Get the spaghetti off your charts.
Yes.
It's not necessary at all. And I want to highlight my favorite comment today from our friend Plasma Lab. Based on this commentary, it's probably time to load up the truck. The fear has made T3 jump the shark. Yes, we have truly jumped the shark.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Do I need to Google that expression? Because I literally don't know what that means.
Were you a Happy Days fan by any chance, Derrick?
Nah, never seen it.
All right. So, there was an episode where towards the end where Happy Days was kind of getting bad, and they had an episode where Fonzie was surfing and he literally jumped over a shark on his surfboard. So it's kind of the idea of doing something cheap for attention while the quality's going downhill, which I think that's a pretty accurate description of my job performance. So Plasma Lab, thank you for your honesty. We appreciate it. So everybody, get the spaghetti off your charts. Go hug your dog, your wife, your husband, whatever. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Derrick. Thank you, JR. Sami, I don't thank you because you stood me up. All right, everybody, have a great day.